Let me tell you something real. There comes a point when you've got to stop knocking on doors that were never built for you to walk through. Stop shrinking yourself just to fit into rooms that can't handle your presence. Stop waiting for applause from people who can't even hear the sound of your purpose. You feel that pull in your chest, that itch in your soul. That's not confusion, that's calling. That's your destiny banging on the walls you've been too afraid to break. There comes a moment, and maybe that moment is right now, when you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm done playing small. I'm done explaining, waiting, begging, shrinking, because what's mine, I'm coming for it. I'm not asking for it. I'm not hoping for it. I'm not knocking on the door anymore. I'm breaking it down. I'm not here to fit in. I'm here to take space, to speak like I was sent, to move like I already own the room, because the truth is simple, the version of you that wins. That version stopped asking. That version took the shot, trusted the gift, and never waited on a green light from people who never saw the vision in the first place. This isn't about arrogance, it's about authority, it's about stepping into the life that's been waiting on you. Not your doubts, not your fear, not your excuses, you. So if you're still holding back, still asking the world for permission to rise, this right here is your line in the sand. It's time to stop waiting, stop doubting, stop begging, and start claiming. Stop asking for permission and take what's yours. Permission is a cage every time you wait for someone to tell you it's okay to move, to speak, to create, to lead, to dream. You're stepping into a cage and locking the door yourself. You hand over the keys to your potential. You give someone else power over your timeline, your growth, your calling, and the harsh truth, most people don't even want to see you win. They don't want to give you permission. Not because they hate you, but because your rise reminds them of their own stagnation. Your courage confronts their cowardice. So they'll delay you, distract you, draw on your fire in polite words like wait, be realistic, or let's see. But that's just another way of saying stay where you are. The cage is subtle. It looks like advice. It sounds like love. It feels like loyalty. But it's fear dressed up and made palatable. The cage is comfort. It's the familiar routines that promise you safety in exchange for your soul. But the problem is comfort never built a legend. Nobody ever changed the world by waiting their turn. The real ones, the game changers, the legacy builders, they didn't ask if it was okay. They didn't fill out a permission slip to be great. They took the damn moment because they understood it was already theirs. You've got a vision that burns in your chest. Then what are you doing waiting for applause before you take your first step? You don't need someone clapping to validate your rhythm. You don't need a green light when you are the engine. The cage opens the moment you realize it was never locked to begin with. The world told you to be humble, to be modest, to play it safe, but they never meant safety for your spirit. They meant safety for their comfort zones. They want you small, predictable, quiet, but you weren't born for quiet. You were born for thunder. Stop playing polite with your destiny. Stop knocking on doors hoping someone lets you in. If the door won't open, kick it down. If it's locked, build your own house. You don't ask the world for a seat at the table. You become the table. And if they still don't see you, sit anyway, eat anyway, take up space anyway. No more permission slips. No more checking in with people who don't even believe in themselves. This life doesn't owe you approval. It only owes you what you're willing to claim. And claiming doesn't happen in whispers. It happens in action. In bold, reckless, heart-pounding, no holding back pursuit of what's already got your name on it. So tear the damn cage apart. Burn the script they gave you and walk into your future like you own the blueprint, because you do. Stop waiting for someone to crown you. You've already got the crown. You just haven't looked in the mirror long enough to see it. You were born with the authority, not because someone handed it to you, not because a diploma, a title, a follower count, or some boast said so, but because breath entered your lungs and purpose was tattooed onto your soul the second you arrived. But what do most people do? They shrink, they fold, they wait. They sit in rooms full of people they're more talented than, hoping to get noticed. They dumb down their light so someone else can feel comfortable in the shadows. They water themselves down and call it humility, when really it's just fear dressed in humility's clothes. You walk into a room thinking you have to earn the right to speak, to create, to lead. But the truth is you already earned it by existing. If you've lived, if you've survived pain, if you've built yourself from rock bottom up, you don't need a certificate to talk about resilience. If you've dreamed something no one else around you could even imagine, then you don't need a mentor to give you permission to start. Your scars are your credentials. Your survival is your license. Your passion is your proof. Authority isn't in a title, it's in your walk, in the way you enter a room, in the weight behind your words, in the stillness of your presence, in the fire of your conviction. When you believe in what you're doing, when you know in your bones it's what you were made for, that belief becomes authority. That's the secret no one tells you. People follow belief, not status, not popularity, but conviction, confidence, certainty. And listen, not everyone is going to agree with your authority. They'll challenge it. They'll mock it. They'll ask, who do you think you are? And you better have an answer ready. I know who I am. That's it. No explanation needed. You're not waiting for credentials from people who don't even know how to access their own power. You're not signing up for some invisible course hoping for a diploma in greatness. You are greatness. You just haven't owned it yet. Every time you pause and wonder, am I ready? You're putting your crown down and walking away from the throne that's been empty too long. Pick it up. Sit in it. Rule in it. Not over people, but over your own life, over your fear, over your insecurity, over that voice that keeps telling you to wait for a sign. You are the sign. Stop looking for a gatekeeper when the gate is wide open. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose. Authority isn't granted, it's claimed. And the ones who move mountains aren't always the ones who were told lies. They're the ones who stopped asking. Let me be real with you. The world doesn't move for the hesitant. It doesn't bow to the careful. It doesn't rearrange itself for the quiet whispers of those still deciding if they're good enough. The world moves fast, hard, and without mercy for the ones who step into it like they were built to run it. You want respect? Step boldly. Not arrogantly. Boldly, there's a difference. Arrogance is insecure. It's loud without foundation. But boldness is rooted in truth, in knowing. In standing in what you believe, even if your voice shakes, especially if it shakes, think about every person who's ever made history. Not just the names in textbooks, but the names that echo in your own life. The ones who dared to be more than what their neighborhood, their family, their past, or even their own doubt said they could be. They weren't the ones tiptoeing around life, hoping not to offend. They weren't apologizing for their presence. They weren't editing themselves to fit in rooms they were meant to transform. They showed up bold, sometimes uninvited, often unwelcome, but always undeniable. Because here's the truth, this world doesn't hand out opportunities. It hides them behind fear, behind judgment, behind resistance. And the only ones who get through are the ones bold enough to knock down every wall in their way. You want to make noise, you want to build something that lasts, then you better be ready to be uncomfortable. You better be ready to be misunderstood, criticized, underestimated, and keep going anyway. Boldness isn't just action, it's attitude. It's walking into the meeting room like you belong there, even if you're the only one who looks like you. It's sharing your idea when your voice is the only different one in the room. It's launching the business even when everyone says it's risky. It's putting your art out there, your writing, your voice, your truth, even if no one claps at first. The world doesn't respect those who wait to be accepted. It respects those who demand to be heard and then speak something worth hearing. It respects those who move like they already have the seat at the table, and if there's no chair, they bring their own. When you're bold, you teach people how to treat you. You show them how to see you. You don't ask for attention. Your presence commands it, not because you're loud, but because you're real, you're whole, you're there with purpose. And here's the thing, boldness is a muscle. You don't need to be born with it. You just need to practice it. Start small, say what you mean, do what you fear, own your weirdness, stand in your truth. And before long, you'll walk with a fire that makes people stop and listen. Not because you asked them to, but because you showed up like the storm they didn't see coming. So be bold, not tomorrow, not when it feels safe now. Because the world is watching and it only moves for the brave. Failure is feedback, not a full stop. Let's get something straight. Failure is not the enemy. It's not your downfall. It's not a sign you weren't meant to do this. Failure is a mirror, a brutally honest and filtered reflection showing you where you need to grow. That's it. Not a label, not a death sentence, just data, just feedback. And the people who win, they listen to that feedback. They don't run from it. They don't fold under it. They study it. But too many of us have been taught to fear failure like it's final, like one setback means you're done, like one wrong move means you're disqualified. That's a lie. That's a narrative handed down by people who never chased anything bigger than their comfort zone. Real champions, real kings and queens of this life, they don't just fail. They expect to fail, not because they doubt themselves, but because they understand that falling is part of rising. It's not a detour, it's a path. Think about a baby learning to walk. Nobody expects that child to stand up and sprint on day one. We know they're going to fall 100 times, but every time they do, they get a little stronger. Their balance improves, their confidence grows, and then one day they're not just walking, they're running, jumping, dancing. That's how growth works. So why do we, as adults, think we should get it perfect the first try? Why do we let embarrassment or ego or fear of judgment stop us from taking another swing? You're going to fail. You're going to launch projects that don't land. You're going to trust people who disappoint you. You're going to invest time, energy, love into things that don't give you what you expected back. And you're going to get up, because it's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. Every failure is a teacher, but only if you're humble enough to listen. And that humility isn't weakness, it's strength. The strongest people you know are the ones who've been through the fire and didn't let it burn their purpose. They let it refine it, sharpen it, steal it. They didn't stop. They didn't cry about what went wrong and never try again. They adjusted. They recalibrated. And then they stepped back into the arena with bloody knuckles and a clearer mind. And here's the beauty in failure. It makes success real. It makes it earned. When you finally hit your stride, when the thing clicks, when the vision turns into reality, it means something because you fought for it. You didn't glide into greatness. You grinded into it. So stop giving failure more power than it deserves. It's not a wall. It's a doorway. It's not a stop sign. It's a fork in the road saying, we're out. Try again, smarter this time. And the only people who stay stuck are the ones who think falling means finishing. You've got dreams too big to be stopped by a stumble. You've got too much purpose to be paralyzed by a bad day. So fall, bleed, cry if you have to, but get up again, again, because failure is feedback, and feedback is a gift. If you're brave enough to unwrap it, you think you have time. That's the lie. You think you can wait to be ready, to be brave, to be sure. But time doesn't wait on you. Time doesn't pause when you're confused. It doesn't slow down when you're scared. And it sure as hell doesn't rewind when you finally realize you should have moved sooner. Time keeps moving. Whether you do or not, every moment you spend overthinking, doubting, procrastinating, that's life slipping through your fingers. That's one less chance to take the shot, to say the thing, to chase the dream, to be who you were born to be. And I know people love to say it's never too late. And yes, there's power in that, but don't get comfortable with it. Because while it's true that you can always start again, what they don't tell you is this: starting late comes with a cost. And not everyone is built to carry that weight. You might have the talent, you might have the potential, you might have the fire, but time doesn't care about any of that. Time is the most ruthless teacher there is, and its lessons are non-negotiable. You either move or you get left behind. You either act or regret becomes your companion. One day, you're going to look back and realize the only thing standing between you and the life you wanted was a decision you kept delaying. You don't need more time, you need more urgency. That clock doesn't stop because you're unsure. Life is happening now, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when you've got it all figured out. You think preparation guarantees success. But let me tell you something: execution beats perfection every single time. The people out there making it happen, half of them didn't know what they were doing either. But they moved, they acted, they figured it out along the way. Meanwhile, you're still waiting on signs, waiting on perfect conditions, waiting on approval from people who don't even believe in themselves. And while you wait, time is cashing out your chances quietly, consistently, and without apology. So what are you really waiting for? A guarantee, a promise that'll all work out? That doesn't exist. You're waiting for a certainty that was never promised in this life. But here's what is promised: regret if you do nothing, frustration if you let your gift rot, bitterness if you watch others live out the life you know you were meant for. Simply because you moved too slow. You've got to move like your dream is on a timer, because it is. Every second you hesitate is a second someone else uses to outwork you, outbuild you, outspeak you. Not because they're better, but because they moved. The finish line doesn't care how talented you are if you never get off the starting block. This is your shot. This is your moment. Not next year. Not when things calm down. Right now. So stop negotiating with time. It's not a business partner. It's a force, and it's moving whether you claim what's yours or not. Get up. Get focused. Get urgent, because time doesn't wait. And if you don't take what's yours now, time will take everything from you later. Let's kill the lie once and for all. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to prove that you matter. You don't need validation from a boss, a partner, a degree, or a follower count. You were born worthy, period. The problem is, somewhere along the line, somebody convinced you otherwise. Could have been a parent who didn't see your light, a teacher who called you average, a world that told you to be realistic. Little by little, they chipped away at your belief in yourself until you started thinking that you had to become something before you could deserve something. But the truth is, you came into this world with fire already in you. Before the world labeled you, before it boxed you in with categories, scores, and standards, you were already enough, already a miracle, already chosen for something only you could carry. You don't need to audition for your own purpose. You are the role. And yet, most people spend their whole lives in pursuit of a worthy version of themselves. They climb ladders that lead nowhere. They hustle for approval they never get. They shapeshift into roles they were never meant to play just to feel like they matter. And it's exhausting. You know why? Because chasing worth is a race that never ends. You could accomplish it all: the job, the house, the image, and still feel empty inside if you never claimed what was already yours from the start. When you understand that worth isn't given, it's claimed, everything changes. You stop settling for crumbs. You stop accepting mistreatment. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You stop showing up like you owe the room something. Because now you know your presence is the value. Your voice is the currency. Your story, your struggle, your scars, that's where the gold is. You're not too much. You're not too broken. You're not behind. You're not a mistake. You are a whole, worthy human being who's been lied to long enough by a culture that profits off your insecurity. They want you doubting yourself. They want you reaching for their products, their systems, their approval, because it keeps you needing them. But you don't need any of that to stand tall in your calling. The only thing you need to do is remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That worth is your starting point, not your reward. When you walk in that truth, you stop begging. You stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I've always been enough. And that changes how you move, how you show up in relationships, how you speak in meetings, how you chase your goals. You don't shrink. You don't hesitate. You don't dilute. You own it. You're not becoming worthy. You're becoming aware of the worth that's always been there. So stop waiting for someone to give you what's already inside you. Nobody can take what they didn't give. That light, that greatness, that's yours. And it's been waiting for you to see it. Purpose is not polite, it's not quiet, it doesn't knock gently on your door and wait for a convenient moment. Purpose kicks the door open. It wakes you up in the middle of the night. It pulls at your chest in the middle of a job you hate. It shouts at you through frustration, depression, burnout, and every time you try to silence it with logic or responsibility, it just gets louder. That's because purpose is relentless. It refuses to be ignored. But somewhere along the way, we were taught to be nice, not just respectful, nice, to wait our turn, to not speak too boldly, to keep our heads down, to play it safe. Don't rock the boat. Don't be too loud. Don't want too much. So what do? We bury our purpose under politeness. We dress it up in excuses. I'm just being realistic. I don't want to seem arrogant. It's not the right time. And with every excuse, purpose sinks deeper and deeper, but it never dies. And here's the thing, purpose isn't going to wait around until you're ready. It's not going to lower itself to fit inside your comfort zone. Purpose requires disruption. It demands sacrifice, and it will offend some people. You stepping into your full self will make people uncomfortable. That's a fact. Your glow will challenge their shadows. Your ambition will expose their complacency. But listen to me, that's not your problem. You don't owe anyone comfort at the cost of your calling. You were not born to keep the peace if the price is your soul. You weren't put here to blend in. You were sent here to stand out, to make noise, to break cycles, to shake the ground a little when you walk. And if that makes people uncomfortable, let them squirm. You didn't come to entertain. You came to shift. You have a voice. Use it. You have ideas. Speak them. You have a path. Walk it, even if no one else understands, especially if no one else understands. That's usually a sign you're onto something real. Your purpose won't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence, resistance, isolation. But it's better to walk alone in purpose than to be surrounded in distraction. And don't wait for some big, dramatic moment to start living on purpose. It's not always going to be some burning bush or lightning strike. Sometimes it's just that quiet dissatisfaction in your gut that tells you, this ain't it. That whisper that says, there's more for you. Listen to that. That's your call. And when you answer it, don't whisper, don't tiptoe, don't apologize, be loud with your life, be honest with your gifts, be unapologetic with your truth. Purpose doesn't come with politeness, it comes with power. And power only responds to those bold enough to stand in it. This world doesn't need more nice. It needs more real, more lit, locked in, fired up people who stopped asking for permission and started living like they meant it. Let's get this clear every time you hold back because you're afraid of what they'll say, afraid they won't clap, afraid they'll judge or walk away. You're betraying yourself. You are choosing their comfort over your calling. You are putting their opinion in front of your own voice. You're editing your identity just to make others more comfortable. And while they sleep soundly in their mediocrity, you're wide awake, knowing you've dimmed your light to fit in with people who were never supposed to understand it. Approval is addictive. It feels good. It feels safe. It's wired into us from the start. Gold stars, good grades, applause, likes. But the moment you start making your life about it, that's when you lose. That's when your choices stop being yours. That's when you start designing your existence around people who wouldn't even show up if you failed. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. Some people will be uncomfortable when you rise. Some people only love the version of you that was silent, small, scared. They were fine when you were doubting yourself because it made them feel better about not chasing their own thing. The moment you speak with clarity, move with intention, demand more, that's when the masks fall. That's when they call you too much, too confident, full of yourself. Let them talk, because here's the real question. Why are you asking people who haven't done it whether or not you should? Why are you giving access to your destiny to people who don't even believe in one? They don't see the vision because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And if you keep waiting for them to approve of it, you'll die with your song still inside you. You don't need their blessing. You don't need a green light. You are the green light. You think kings and queens wait for applause. They build the kingdom and let the echo come later. They don't need a consensus to be great. They don't send out surveys before stepping into the role they were born for. They claim it boldly, unapologetically, and the people who were meant to be with them. They show up, the rest fall away, as they should. Every time you silence yourself for approval, you trade purpose for popularity, and I promise you this popularity is fleeting, but purpose is eternal. Purpose will hold you in storms where applause won't reach. Purpose will carry you when the crowd is gone. Purpose will drive you when no one is watching. So the next time you hesitate because you're afraid someone might not like it or get it or consign it, ask yourself, am I really going to betray me to please them? Because if the answer is yes, you're living someone else's life, and this life, it's yours. Take it. Reclaiming power means releasing excuses. There comes a moment when you've got to look yourself in the mirror, dead in the eyes, and ask, am I still letting my excuses speak louder than my potential? See, we've all got reasons, stories, justifications. I didn't grow up with support. I didn't go to the right school. I've been through too much. They don't believe in me. And hey, some of those stories, they're real. Some of that pain, that's valid. Some of that trauma, deep. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Pain explains where you've been. It doesn't define where you're going. Excuses feel like protection, but they're really cages. They convince you that waiting is wise, that stalling is smart, that you can't do it yet. And before you know it, you're not protecting yourself. You're trapping yourself. You're rehearsing limitation so often it starts sounding like logic. You're telling the same tired story about why you can't instead of flipping the script and asking, what would happen if I did? Every time you say, I would, but you're handing your power to something outside yourself. And power, once given away, doesn't always come back easy. You've got to take it back. You've got to stop blaming the job, the system, the past, the timing. Is all of that real? Sure. Is any of it stronger than your decision to move forward anyway? No. People out there have done more with less. Why? Because they stopped using their circumstances as excuses and started using them as fuel. They flipped their pain into power, their lack into hunger, their struggle into strategy. And now they're building something while others are still explaining why they can't start. The world isn't waiting for your explanation. It's waiting for your action. And action doesn't care about your comfort. Growth doesn't care about your fears. Life will never pause long enough for you to feel fully ready. You want your power back, get out of your head, stop rehearsing your limitations and start reminding yourself who the hell you are. You've got more than you think. You've overcome more than you admit. And deep down, you already know that. That's why your excuses feel heavy, because you know they're not the full truth. They're a mask, and eventually masks fall. When they do, the only question that matters is, what are you going to do now? Reclaiming your power doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means refusing to live in it. It means looking at your past and saying, yeah, that happened, but it doesn't get to write the ending. You write the ending every day with every decision. And the most powerful one you can make is this: no more excuses. You want what's yours. Go get it and leave the justifications in the dust. They were never real armor, just noise. No one is coming to save you. Be your own rescue. Here's the raw truth. Nobody's coming. Not the perfect mentor, not the dream opportunity, not the magical yes, not the savior who's going to show up at just the right time, see your potential, and hand you the life you were meant to live. That fantasy, that's a script written by fear. The real world doesn't run on rescue, it runs on responsibility. And the minute you realize that no one is obligated to save you, the minute you understand that it's your life, your dream, and your job to fight for it, that's the moment you get free. Waiting for someone to validate your dream is like standing in the rain hoping it turns to sunshine. It's not happening. And even if someone does show up, if you don't believe in yourself yet, if you haven't done the inner work, if you're still stuck in the waiting room of your own life, you'll sabotage the help. You'll doubt the moment. You'll walk away from the opportunity because deep down you never claimed it as yours to begin with. The most dangerous lie in the world is help is on the way. Help is not on the way. You are the help. You are the plan. You are the backup. The reinforcements, the solution. You are your own rescue mission. And when you move from that mindset, when you stop outsourcing your power and start owning your path, everything starts to shift. Doors that look locked open because you kicked them. People that ignored you before start watching, not because they changed, but because you did. You can't outsource the grind. You can't delegate the courage. You can't subcontract the hunger. You've got to show up for yourself when nobody else does. When the lights are off, when the applause is gone, when the results are slow, when the faith is fragile, that's when you double down. That's when you bet on yourself like your life depends on it. Because it does. You were never meant to live on standby. You were never supposed to be waiting at the station for some miracle train to arrive. You are the engine. You are the momentum. You are the damn fire. And yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's hard. But you know what's harder? Living your whole life knowing you could have gone further, done more, been more if you had just believed that you were enough. Because you are. You always were. So get up. Not because someone told you to. Not because someone's watching. But because there's a version of you, a future version, out there living the life you should have. And the only thing standing between you and that version is a choice. Do you wait or do you take? No more asking. No more hoping. No more waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, it's your time. It's been your time, so stop asking for permission and take what's yours. So now the truth is on the table, laid bare, no filter, no sugar. You've heard it, felt it, maybe it shook you, maybe it woke something up in you that's been silent for too long. But now comes the moment that separates the watchers from the warriors, because you don't leave a room like this and go back to normal. Not after this. Not after being reminded of who you really are. Not after feeling the weight of your own potential pressing against your chest like it's begging you to finally open the door and let it breathe. This world doesn't need more people waiting for a green light. It needs people who are the green light, people who stand up without permission, who move without validation, who speak even when their voice shakes, people who stop asking if they're ready and decide they are. That's what changes things. That's what flips the script. That's what rewrites the legacy, not just for you, but for every soul who's been waiting for someone like you to go first. You think this is just about motivation. No, this is about transformation. It's about drawing a line and saying, from this day forward, I don't beg, I don't shrink, I don't delay. I take what is mine with purpose, with power, with discipline, with divine certainty, because I am no longer available for excuses. I am no longer waiting to be chosen. I am chosen. I choose me. So the next time doubt creeps in, the next time you start shrinking, second guessing, stalling, remember this moment, remember this fire, and remember the door you're waiting to be opened. It's already unlocked, always has been. Kick it down, take what's yours, and never ask again.